Can I wear my old uniform if I didn't retire? Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and a while back I did a video about the wear of the uniform by military retirees. And some of you sent me questions asking, what about veterans? What about people who didn't retire? Well, it turns out that broadly speaking, veterans are allowed to wear their old uniforms. The authority for this comes from U.S. Code Title 10, Section 722, which says that a person who served honorably in time of war can bear the title that they held and, subject to the regulations prescribed by the President, they can wear the uniform in the highest grade that they held during that war. Now, anytime you see that language about regulations prescribed by the President, what they're really talking about are the regulations published by the Department of Defense and the services. So the next place to look is AR 670-1, the wear and appearance of uniforms. And just like there was a paragraph specifically for retirees, there's another one specifically for veterans who didn't retire, paragraph 32-4. In this section of the reg, it specifically says that former service members are authorized to wear their uniform if they served honorably during a declared or undeclared war, and if their most recent service was terminated under honorable conditions. And, just like U.S. Code, it says that personnel are authorized to wear the highest rank they held during the war. Now, to me, that language about declared or undeclared war is a little bit vague, especially given that a lot of our military conflicts are now fought under the condition of a presidential state of national emergency. And I'm no expert. I certainly couldn't find an explanation of what it means to be in a declared or undeclared war, but I kind of figure if you were in a combat zone, close enough. The next thing is that the uniform can only be worn in specific circumstances, typically ceremonial occasions. These include military funerals, memorial services, weddings, inaugurations, and other ceremonial events. And a good rule of thumb is if there's a military unit or a color guard participating in the event, then it's okay to wear your uniform. The only real caveat is you can't wear your combat uniform and you can't wear your physical fitness uniform. Now, one question that has come up is when you are wearing your uniform, do you have to conform to the same standards as people who are on active duty? And I suggest that there's kind of an unspoken rule here. I mean, in broad terms, the answer is no. You can have a beard, and you don't even have to be wearing all of the accessories that go along with your uniform. But I think that leniency is kind of tempered with age. What I mean is that a veteran who's 80 or 90 years old, well, they can get away with a couple of uniform violations and nobody really cares. I mean, just as long as they make a good faith effort to present an appropriate military image and they don't do anything to bring discredit on the service. And this seems to be particularly true when they're wearing the uniform that was appropriate for the time when they served. That said, I do not think that same leniency applies to guys my age. First of all, I am just vain enough to think that if I put on my uniform and I showed up at an event, that people would assume that I was still on active duty. And that means that I have to wear the uniform properly. So, no beard for Chuck. The other thing to keep in mind is that my uniform is the current uniform. I don't have an excuse not to have the right tie. And if I show up out of uniform, it's going to be pretty obvious to just about everybody involved. So for now, I'm going to follow the advice of some of you guys and just not wear it. And now, if you want to see what a veteran can do that a retiree can't do, watch this video on how retirees are still subject to UCMJ authority.